those that don't know, Big Lurch is Antoine Singleton, who when he was on PCP, he killed his roommate, a young lady. Her name was Tynesha Yassis, because he thought she had the devil inside her. He was on PCP.
And then was on that Sherm.
Yeah, you know that Sherm been running through the hood for a long time.
Oh
but,
yeah.
You know, but apparently, man,
nigga was on that water, man. Nigga was floating.
he was on that water, dog, and he never became a big mainstream rapper, but he had a few.
He had a local
success.
following,
He had a local
He
following.
came from the Cosmic
Slop Shop.
Yeah.
Did you know him?
I knew of Big Lurch. He came out around the time I think I had maybe my second, going on my third album. I mean, he was one of those artists around the time. One of the, when you was getting the convicts and you was getting a lot of those, offsprings. You was getting the offsprings. He was one of those. Came from the horrorcore. If y'all familiar with that, the artists, there's a lot of artists. I think Esham was on that too. Yeah, a lot of those was on the horrorcore. So he was one of the original horrorcore rappers. Yeah, that's my dude, Brother Lynch. I did an album with Brother Lynch. Shout out my nigga Brother Lynch. So yeah, they was on that horrorcore movement, a different form of hip hop. When they spoke of, Jeffrey Dahmer and Freddy Krueger and Freddy type of shit.
It was like taking the serial killer rap to a whole different
exactly,
thing.
Exactly.
Vivid in the descriptions of violence, you know what I mean?
And that right there is vicious in itself, because when you smoking PCP and you're fucking, Get In is fucking rapping about horrorcore and killing and eating motherfuckers. That's like a bad mix already and shit. You already write down shit about, eating a motherfucker's brain, and then you go hit a motherfucking wet stick. Nigga, your reality is finna just become too vicious.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because he rapped about all this shit.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
And we go eventually get him to call in. When a motherfucker locked up, ain't no telling what they going through to get to the phone. They might be on lockdown.
And can you
right
imagine
now.
a motherfucker writing raps about, cannibalism, and then he goes somewhere and hit a wet stick and just think all his thoughts already of all this shit he's writing. So the mix of the PCP with his thoughts of all that shit already, it probably just fucked him off.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what happened, man. On 2002, around April 19th, he was with his roommates just hanging out, right? He was with his roommate hanging out and some other people. He smoked a wet, which he said he smoked because he was in a car accident, I guess. And he said the PCP helped him with his pain. That's new on me. I had never heard that before.
A lot of people go that route, not saying that they do PCP, but a lot of people do alternatives when when they accidents, or the doctor get to prescribe and shit and it don't work. I mean, because that's what he said. They tried to give me some shit, but it wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. So he started smoking that Sherm. So he chilling, man. They started smoking, getting wet, I guess, and everything. And he told everybody to leave the house, except for the 21-year-old Tanisha Yassis.
He got to hallucinating.
And she was his roommate's girlfriend,
yeah,
right?
He probably got to. So how you gonna tell me to leave, but not my broad?
And now that's what I don't understand.
So how you leave your girl? Was he there? Because I don't. Maybe he wasn't there. Maybe he was at work or something.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask him when we talked to him, right? But apparently they sitting in there, man, whatever, and he thought the devil was inside her, so he attacked the girl and literally, stabbed her and ate her.
Yeah, so he cut her. He did some vicious shit, and we ain't gonna speak on it. For even though it happened a long time ago, we ain't gonna go into description of what he did for the sake of the family. Might be still around or whatever.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
So yeah, but it was some horrific shit done to the young lady.
Live from the Salinas Valley Correctional Institute, we have a special guest, Big Lurch in the house. What's happening, Lurch?
What it do, OG? What's up, 8 man? On Bloods, much respect.
Good looking, fam. You know how it is. You know what it do.
You know, by now,
Already.
everyone knows the events that led to your incarceration, but it's a number of other things we have to talk about. First of all, what kind of treatment are you receiving right now?
Well, currently, I'm at Salinas Valley State Prison, California, which is actually New Soledad. So the BGF and everything started at Soledad. George Jackson, Soledad brother. Rest in peace, OG. Thank you for the vision. I'm currently in mental health, so I had to learn about, being bipolar because brothers, they self-medicate with street drugs, and our community has been flooded with street drugs like PCP and methamphetamine that induce mental illness and put spirits in us that nature take its course, and the nature of its drugs is murder and sex. And, meanwhile, the slave master sits back and says, they monsters. You know what I
mean? This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So now that I've enlightened myself about mental health and these drugs, now I'm ready to rap. Now I'm ready to rap about it.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is that, when you first started indulging in PCP, you were doing that to self-medicate some pain you were going through from an accident. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Well, PCP is a dissociative anesthesia, actually. It's an anesthesia, but it also causes psychosis, but we don't know that in the ghetto. We're going to make an excuse. Oh, whoever flipped out on it was weak-minded, or he was already like that, because we be freestyling and just inventing shit, us
right.
blacks. Whereas the whites know the science, they invented the drugs. So I broke my neck in a car accident, you know what I'm saying, at my grandmother's funeral. And, I was in pain. They let me out of the hospital. I woke up. I didn't choose to do heroin, a.k.a. morphine. You wake up and you got the needles in you when you push the button. So I had developed an addiction. I was in a coma for months with the morphine. And then when they let me out of the hospital, my insurance wasn't covering all that. So, they just cold turkeyed the pain pill, the pain anesthesias. And just now I'm having a withdrawal and pain. And one of my, homies is like, man, I'm in the wheelchair. I can't walk. Like, man, get up. That ain't Lurch. You depressed. You want to kill yourself. What? Nigga, hit this. So began hell.
And that was the genesis of that. It's a number of things, man, with that case that just kind of had me wondering, because I really familiarized myself with it. And one of the things I was thinking, man, it's like it didn't make no sense. They said you told everybody to leave except for the girl, but her boyfriend was there too. Usually, if somebody was a couple, I bounce. My woman coming with me. It just didn't make no sense.
Already.
So can we elaborate just a little bit on that?
Well, in the reality of the issue, by the time that is, I wasn't smoking, sure. I had just got out of jail in Dallas County, like 2 months prior to that. So my whole system was clean. So I'm bicking it with the homies on the fig. They smoke some lovelies with me. Now, once you high and you under the influence, somebody pass it to you, you're going to keep hitting it. So in actuality, I end up getting robbed. You know what I'm saying? I'm the off-brand from Texas or whatever they wanted to make it as appear. But in reality, I'm baby Paddlefoots. But at the time, this cat ain't knowing who my family is in L.A. So, they robbed me. I don't even remember the day. All I remember is we went to the Hoodie Awards and shit, which was a few days before. So they kept me under and then was robbing me, you know what I'm saying, cleaning me out, took my car, my wallet, went to the mall, and they also said, it's in my trial transcripts, the dude, Thomas Moore, Baby Peabody, or whatever they want to call him, that I told them to go to the mall to buy assaults and Jordans. I ain't never let you use my car, and I damn sure ain't gave you all my money and told you to go to get the mall and get no Jordans. But that's his story, and since I'm the biggest name, rapper or aspiring rapper, as the whites, or my bad, the powers that be like to label us. Mm-hmm. Just like I'm a rapper or a mayhem rapper, but I'm not a rapper, I'm a writer. I write film, books, movies, Rap is Laffy Taffy. I'm just a writer. But, you know what I'm saying? All these labels that box us in, that enables people to think whatever they want to make them think. That's what the label do. So, I pretty much was robbed. He had her under the influence too, so I learned after the trial transcripts, they found enough drugs in her to, so he was actually experienced prison baby. So now that I'm in prison, I understand because the big brother master, they in here drugging people with psych meds and everything. So a lot of the cats in California prison is learning how to control people with drugs by what happens to them.
And
I know it works. They did it to me.
What these dudes
they did it to me, you know what I mean?
Right. Were these dudes that you considered that was supposed to be homies, or just some niggas you was kicking it with, because you know how this shit happens around neighborhood shit, the wet sticks,
so
was always like one of the drugs of choice in the neighborhood for some, and so I'm just saying, what did they introduce you to it, and they just kept you hooked on it? Like, here, just let's keep getting high. What was the outcome?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Well, I'm from Dallas, Texas, so wet is a big thing down there. But I was an athlete, but all my homies in the hood used to use it. By the way, I'm from a blood hood, East Dallas, but I didn't gangbang. I was an athlete. I wrote. It's a difference.
Right.
Like I said, labels. There's a pimp. There's a hustler. They're going to get a hustler from a blood or crib hood life, but he not the gangbanging hunter getting in the car shooting up people.
Right.
We all from the hood.
Exactly.
But that don't mean you gangbang. So anyway, I didn't smoke CERN. The first time I started trying it is when I broke my neck. I got out of jail. I got to L.A. Now, I've always been in and out of L.A. in the Bay Area. My father's from the Bay. North Richmond. We lived in Vallejo. So, I got family in L.A., so I go to L.A. to work on my album, and I'm a blood, so I hung with the Bloods because I didn't feel safe. I'm rapping, and I had broke my neck. I'm still not that strong. So I used the homies from Lanes because that's who I fuck with.
Right.
My big homie, Raymond Dupree, to be my Usalama. You know what I'm saying? And he had keys in the hood. While I'm going to Hollywood and doing shows, clubs and, networking, to get people on my albums, I got my homie, he professional, he been to prison, Usalama in me. So while he Usalama in me, we go through the hood and he smokes CERN, So we go through the hood and I'm in the house, he doing his thing, I stay at the house on the 6th and I come outside, I'm like, where Radar? And he just smoked. Right in front of me. Somebody standing over him, just lighting his ass up. He introduced me to CKT, a.k.a. Baby Peabody, Thomas Moore. So now I'm hanging on to Radar through T. You understand what I'm saying? So, but Radar ain't T. And then Radar was my Usalama, and he had a pure heart. He was a good brother. You know what I'm saying? So when Raymond Dupree got killed, Radar, I'm holding on to him through T, and now I'm taking T through Hollywood and the studios. I'm working on It's All Bad, the album, which wasn't the name. The label gave it that name.
Right.
I was going to name the album The Puppet Master, but they exploited my conviction for the sales and used my conviction to sell the album. Now that I'm with T and I'm taking them around Hoodie Awards and everything, well, the hood on the Fig is a host role. So basically, I guess he trying to pimp baby girl. Now, all the homegirls and everything coming around, I roll hard. I'm a clean-ass, fly-ass nigga. I ain't no tennis suit pimp. Gators on my feet, eating gators meat, you know what I'm saying? Gators on my feet, eating up the concrete, you know what I'm saying? Italian suits. I'm doing my damn thing, so the homegirls start choosing. Well, niggas is out the pen. They trying to be pimps, but they really prison babies. They ain't built like that, this particular nigga. So he getting jealous because his girl literally telling him, I want to fuck with your homeboy. Oh, he ain't a day one anyway. He from Texas. He got the little ego. So they like, man, I don't want to fuck with Larry. He take care of his. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, you can't even pay the rent. So pretty much jealousy happened. But in my mind, I'm rapping. I'm thinking, like Tupac said in the interview I viewed, he said he thought that the homies and the blacks would be proud of him. You know? So I got this delusion in my head that nothing's going to happen to me because everybody's proud of me. I'm from the ghetto and I'm making it. But jealousy and envy, see, made Cain kill Abel. So this girl, you know, Lord bless her soul, but, you know, she literally told him that she wanted to fuck with me. And then the jealousy happened. But in my mind, man, I'm the homie and I'm putting the homies on. Come on. They should be, you know, they proud of me. So I keep hanging. If I could go back now, I would have separated myself from that equation. But I'm like, man, I'm coming through, taking cats to the studio, showing them that we can make it as black people, you know what I'm saying? And that it's a fact, you know, that we're doing this. So, you know what I'm saying? Now, all the homie want to do, though, when we go to the club and shit, he started smoking sherm. So eventually, I'm hanging with this. I start hitting it, too. You know, I made a choice. I started hitting it, too.
And we all make choices
And
sometimes.
then he seen I couldn't handle it. He seen I couldn't handle it. And then the ride began.
Gangsta Chronicles, we gon' tell you how it goes. If I lie, my nose will grow like Pinocchio. We gon' tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. Gangsta Chronicles, this is not your average show.